So these pieces over here, they're called dropouts. And what you do is you loosen them up and the whole wheel actually slides back. So what is up, guys and girls? In today's video, we will be working on this bad boy right here. It is a Super73 RX. We will be installing these. These are the Raid Dynamics Halo 2 for Super73. The Halo 2s can fit a variety of Super73s from the RX, the S2, the ZX, the Adventure Series, and even the Blackout SC. When you purchase these, you will get a set for the front, a set for the rear. You have the option to choose the color of the washers that'll hold the standout in place. If you need any help installing them, you have an installation guide, as well as I'm hoping that my video will help you out. Now for my installation, it might be overkill, but I have this motorcycle stand that I might utilize, as well as a bicycle stand that I could use if I need it. Alright, so without any further ado, let's get into this. Alright, so these are some of the tools that you are going to need for this installation. A T25 Torx, a set of Allens, a Phillips screwdriver, a 3/8 extension, and a hammer or some type of a rubber mallet. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to remove your battery. We are removing the battery just to make it a little bit lighter in weight. Making it a little bit lighter in weight will make it a lot easier to work on. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to want to do is to take the front wheel off. Front wheel is a lot easier to work with. Alright, so the stand seems to be doing a good job at holding the bike in place. Using a 5mm Allen, we can take out the front axle. The axle is also clamped together with these two 5mm Allens on both sides of the fork. Once the Allens are removed and loosened, we will begin to tap this on one side, trying to extract the axle. To tap it out, I'll be using a 3/8 extension as well as a rubber mallet. Okay, once the axle is removed, you should be able to drop that front wheel. Once the wheel is removed, it's a good opportunity to wipe away any debris. Okay, this part might not be necessary, but I think I'm going to remove it anyway. This is the reflector that will no longer be used. To remove the reflector, simply remove the two Phillips head screws. Alright, notice the air valve stem. Your kit includes 4 halos. 2 are solid like this. The other 2 will have the opening for the air valve stem. And that is what's going to go on first. Next, we will get 5 aluminum posts, 5 anodized screws, and 5 stainless steel washers. Now loosely install the posts onto the halo. So when you're done, each of the 5 should look something like this. Alright, once each is installed, alright, if you guys have zip ties, I would suggest placing a zip tie through the spokes in the halo just to help you hold it in place when you flip it around. Okay, you don't want it too tight, it's just to hold it in place. Alright, after it's been flipped around, we're going to have to take the rotor out to install the other side. Alright, seems like every time I do something at home, I run into a little problem. This would be the next step. We gotta get the rotor off. But getting it off wasn't the easiest thing in the world. I resorted to this hair blower just to heat this area up. They come with Loctite on the threads already, so I knew that this was going to be hard to get out. The only other problem that I didn't foresee was the actual torque size. Looking on here, I see T23. I'm not sure if the T23 was for torque size. I can't find a T23. The only thing I can find is a T25. When I get a T25 that I have, I put it inside here and there is a little bit of play, and I do not feel comfortable with that at all. That's why I resorted to the blow dryer to heat this area up, to soften the Loctite, to hopefully get it out, and thank God it did. So yes, this is the next step. See, I thought attaching the halo onto the other side was going to be the hard part, until I tried to take off the first Torx. All right, so moving on. All right, don't know if you can see that, but that is the blue Loctite that these come with. Do a good job though of not coming out, so you need them out. All right, finally on the last screw. Don't forget the orientation of this. There are those markings on that side. That should remind you on how to put it back on. All right, let's get the other side. All right, here we have the other side of the halo. Raid Dynamics is on the outside. Now this might be challenging. All right, right now I was able to get one of them to attach. And I am going across to the next one that I can see from inside. From inside the opening. Alright. I got two to connect. Okay, got another one to connect. Working on this one next. Now that there's more than one connected, the rest are getting easier. Let me see if I can show you guys what I can see. Can you see inside there where my thumb is? So I look through this opening over here and I make my connection. Down to the last one. Alright, good stuff. She's connected. Alright, so this thing comes with 2 Allens and I'm going to utilize both of them. I will hold one Allen in place while I screw the other one down. But before I do that, let me take off these zip ties that I used. Okay, once I get one in place, I'm going directly across to the opposite side to try to tighten the next one. Alright, hold one Allen on one side while cranking down on the other. Alright, once all sides are tightened, we can replace the rotor. Always hand tighten your screws before you start cranking down on them. You don't want to strip them. And again, I go across, just like you're putting on lugs on a tire. You just want to ensure they're laid flat against the hub. Alright, once they're all the way in, I'll begin to crank down on them. Alright, after that, she's ready for install. No weapon. Fuck my life. Alright, so we are ready to put the front wheel back on. Alright, so that's the trickiest part, is getting this hub to align with the fork. That's a good sign. Alright. The axle is in. Alright, so now I will put the end in, tighten it, and try and center it before I crank down on the bottom ends. Alright, let me just make sure it spins freely. And it does. Okay, so now we're done with the front. Now we're gonna get the rear off the ground and start working on the back tire. Okay, so the first part of the rear wheel disassembly is going to be taken off the brake caliper. You'll need a 5mm Allen to remove the 2 screws that are holding the caliper in place. Okay, once those 5mm Allens are removed, we will gently peel back the caliper. And keep in mind that the motor wire is being held down by a few zip ties, and that we'll need to remove. Once the zip ties are removed, you can access the connector and unscrew it. Next, it looks like the easiest way to drop this wheel is going to be from these dropouts over here. They are 5mm as well. I'll need to loosen up the Allen that's holding the tensioner. It is a 5mm. Alright, now that the tensioner is removed, it'll be a lot easier to get the chain off the sprocket. This Allen is also going to need to be removed because if not, the motor cannot drop down. Release the cable. We will loosen up the nuts holding on the rear wheel axle. Once these nuts are loosened, you can completely remove them. There is a washer on the inside. Take that off as well. Do the opposite side now. Remove the nut. Alright, now we can take the chain, disassemble the rotor so we can mount our halo. Alright, so before I mount the halo, I will remove the reflector like I did on the front. Let me just see if I can get these off without heating it up. These are coming off a little easier, or should I say a lot easier. And gently we will remove the rotor. And after the rotor is removed, we can begin to wipe down the wheel and then install the halo. Okay, so I have her propped up here, and just to keep her in place, I am going to use this bike stand to hold the handlebars and keep it from toppling over. All right, after we wipe down the rim, we are going to get one side and line it up with the valve stem. So it should sit something like that. Then we'll get our screws and they will be loosely installed. Just keep in mind, because of the motor, it might be a little bit more of a challenge to get these two to come together. Okay, after all 5 of them are installed, it should look something like this. And now we can attempt to install the opposite side. You want to make sure that the Raid Dynamics is facing outwards. Why? Because we care. That's why. Okay, so the first one is probably going to be the easiest to line up because you can see where you're putting the screw. And actually, it's not that bad. It kind of lines itself up. It's a lot easier actually. Spoke too soon. Okay, little tip. When you're installing the rear, leave one of them tighter than all the other ones and save that one for last. Alright, so after they are all connected, we can tighten them up. Again, it's personal preference. I don't go in a circle when I tighten. I go directly across. Alright, there you have it. It looks good. Almost looks like a completely different animal. Now to get this rotor back on. Okay, always remember hand tighten first before you cinch down on these, and when you tighten them, go across, don't go around. And if you can, use a better Torx than this. What a pain in the ass. A longer one would have been a lot better. This one's too short, too close to the axle, and I keep hitting it. I can't get them on quickly. Alright, so once the rotor is back on, we can put the wheel back onto the bike. Alright, so this is definitely going to be the hardest part of the install. First thing we're going to want to do is make sure that the chain is on the sprocket. Now lining this up is going to pose to be a challenge. You see the first mistake I made? Was that washer. Now we can put on the dropout. Now this was such a tight fit that it's not gonna go on easy. Oh, that is interesting.
Shooting a video?
Huh?
So you're shooting a video?
Yeah.
Any help?
Yeah, I could use your help. I actually figured out how it's supposed to come out. And it's not how I got it out. Because I took more apart than I was supposed to. It just came out. Because I've never done this before, I'm sure that doesn't help much either. So these pieces over here, they're called dropouts. And what you do is you loosen them up and the whole wheel actually slides back. Alright, hold the front handlebars. Got it? Watch your toes. Hold it so I can pull. If it doesn't, then I gotta do some adjusting. Alright, just you can rest it down on that. Alright, thank you for your help. Okay, we will start to button things up, making sure that everything is tight. Once the 4 screws from the dropouts are removed, you can slide the wheel back. I'm gonna try and flip this around and show you what I did on the other side. These are the other 2 Allens that hold the dropout in place. Once removed, you can just slide back. Okay, pay close attention here because this is critical. Remember the position that this is in before you remove it. You want to put it back in exactly the same manner so that it functions properly. This is a 5mm Allen. Remove this and the whole tensioner will fall, making it easier for the for you to remove the chain as well as the back wheel. Okay, we cannot forget to connect the motor wire. Alright, after the motor wire is connected, get yourself a couple of zip ties. Remember, we took 3 of them off. So we are going to want to put 3 of them back. Snip. Alright, well, installation is complete. Alright, grab the battery, slap her in place, power her on. And she is good to go. So what do you guys think of the Raid Dynamics Halo 2? I think it completely changes the look of the bike. She looks beefier, more aggressive. She will definitely turn heads. I love it. Now the only thing left to do is to take her out for a spin. So there you have it. If you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate. Smash that like button. Leave a comment. I get back to everybody. And if you want to, please subscribe. So until the next video, peace out, everybody.